Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 162. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host. He no longer plays video games, Montrell Rise.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, man? How's life treating you?
It's been busy this week. Like, I've barely been on any social media, or I just got on social media because this was the first day I was at my desk and I had nothing to do. So I've been on social media today. But besides that, I've just been busy.
Well, you're not missing a ton there. There's not a lot of big news this week, so we might be going into a little bit of a lull here at the end of March. You know, the releases are slowing down.
Okay.
We're getting through the last of like the giant AAA releases coming. There's a few things coming out in the next couple weeks, but nothing. It's not like super major shit. So, okay. So, Montreal, why don't we just jump right in this week? So,
Sir.
For those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. Montreal, did you see that Fortnite took out building from the game temporarily? They said this was a temporary thing. They're trying it out. Would you go back? Do you want to try the game without building mechanics?
So they took out building mechanics?
Yeah, and they added like a bunch of powers. Sort of reminds me of like Halo Reach's like suit powers and stuff. Like you get like super armor, and like you can put up like a cover barrier, and you can do like a speed dash, I think, and stuff like that. So yeah, they're just playing around with it, I think. But I will say I was intrigued. I'm kind of not in a BR mood right now. I haven't been for a little while, but I'm like, I mean, the building is the reason I don't want to play Fortnite. You know, that's like literally the reason. So you take that out, and
Wait, would it be called Fortnite without the building though?
I mean, yeah, sure. Why? Yeah, who cares? Why not? I mean, even if the game changes, I mean, it's still part of the legacy of the game. I don't think they're going to take it out permanently either. It's like, I think they might make a playlist without it if people like it. You know.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, what's funny is I know people like were kind of like bashing Apex Legends or whatever, right? For like the sliding mechanic, but now fucking Fortnite has a sliding mechanic and everything.
Yeah.
I just find that funny, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, Fortnite, the thing with Fortnite is there's multiple reasons I didn't like Fortnite. The building was the big one, obviously. I didn't feel like learning how to do that, and honestly, it just seems so twitchy and just stupid. Like, I don't know, I didn't like it. But the second reason was that movement was so static in that game.
Mm-hmm.
There's no slide. There's no really way to increase your movement speed. For the most part, you just run at the same speed no matter what you're doing, pretty much. And it's like, it was kind of like, it just didn't feel, mobility didn't feel great in that game. Like you didn't feel mobile, you know? So I welcome it. I mean, honestly, it's something that might make me go check the game back out, you know? So I'm for it.
You know, look, the sliding mechanic looks really dope on there. It just reminds me of like Apex, but third person. And you can actually shoot in first person, or when you aim down, you go into first person mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that's pretty cool too. So
yeah, and dude, without building, that means you don't have to run around and hit random rocks and trees to get fucking materials all the time. You know?
Yeah,
like, that's good. So I don't know, might be worth checking out. All right, Montreal, let's start with what we've been playing. Do you want to go first?
yes, it's only been playing one game. I've been playing Elden Ring. I took a break from it. This game has some really weird walls as far as like power stopping you. So I'm like level 100 right now. I'm 60 hours in. I'm level 100, or like 101 or something like that. I just reached like the third region, or I don't know. I don't even know the game says I'm 50% in right now. So or like how you look on the PlayStation
Jesus.
5 log or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
it says
yeah.
I'm 50% in now.
Okay. Jesus
I
Christ.
think
Yeah.
either 50% or 33%, something weird like that. But so I'm in like this like cold region way up in the north,
Mhm.
and yeah, I'm like at a huge wall with this one boss that just comes out of nowhere, um, and like wreaks havoc upon me. So I'm trying to like find different armor. Like I'm not having issues finding weapons. I'm having issues finding like good armor. So in this game, compared to like other Souls games, you don't upgrade your armor. If that makes any sense, the armor just upgrades with stats.
Yeah.
So um, it's kind of different. So I don't know what to actually do when I'm like, trying to get some good armor. So it's like now I have to like kind of, I was going for like a dex build, but like I am still doing a dex build, but I have to put more points into my vigor, or not
Mhm.
vigor, but endurance, so I can like,
Yeah.
handle better armor and stuff like that while I'm still rolling around and not fat rolling and things of that nature.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
it's just the game has it's not a weird ebb and flow. It's just I'm into a new area now. I need to level up in that area. So that's what I'm doing now. But I just haven't really felt like playing the game because that's all I've been playing for like the last I think 2 weeks now. I've been playing nothing but Elden Ring, and
Mhm.
I still haven't finished this game. And the reasons why is because I think I'm doing the same thing you did with Zelda, where you explore everywhere you can. Like I would have one objective, right? And then I'll see something at a distance that's like really cool, and I'll go over there, and it starts like a whole quest line. I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm like,
Oh my
and then it
god.
ends with like a boss and everything,
Yeah,
and
it
then I
sounds like
gotta,
Lost
I
Ark,
gotta,
dude.
yeah, and I gotta fucking fight the boss and shit
Yeah.
because I like now I'm committed to this boss or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm having fun with the game. I'm having fun exploring it. Um, like I said, it's just if I really wanted to like beeline it towards the main bosses and stuff like that, the game actually gives you a direction where to go. So um certain graces are like I call them like story um relevant graces, and they'll point a beam to the next story relevant grace.
Mhm.
But they're like graces all over the place and everything like that. So if I wanted to just go on a straight path, I could. But
Yeah.
I'm still just exploring around right now, so I'm having
Yeah.
fun exploring.
Yeah, that shit happens in Lost Ark to me where I'll have an objective. I'll be like going to do like a daily or something, and I'll be like, and it make like it, it's like a new one that I haven't done before, and
Hmm.
I like sail by an island that I haven't been to, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Oh, that island looks cool. I'm gonna go in there and just knock it out real quick, and then like 2 hours later, I'm fucking did like a whole quest chain and shit, and like all sorts of shit was happening on that island. And it's like, god damn it. So I know what you mean
Yeah,
with that. Well, cool. So after a few weeks, I mean, it's been about a month since the game came out. Like, how are you feeling overall about it?
I think it's probably one of their best games they ever made. Besides Sekiro, that's like their perfected game.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the best. If I took Sekiro out of the equation of the Soulsborne franchise, this would be their best game.
Yeah.
Because it combined everything that they learned from strictly the Soulsborne franchise,
Mm-hmm.
or strictly the Souls franchise. I think this is like Demon Souls 2, or maybe Dark Souls 4, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Um, it's really good. Like there are some wonky parts here and there, but I think the reason the game is the way it is designed is because it's designed to make you do different builds. Like if you want to do a Dex build or something like that, you can't just do a strict Dex build in this game. You're gonna do like a Dex faith build or a Dex intellect build or a Dex arcane build or strength. You're gonna combine stuff because like there's so much incentive to exploring and combine stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The only drawback is like as you get stronger, it gets harder to level up faster.
Yeah.
So you have to find better enemies stronger enemies to level up faster with. But those enemies are not cakewalks. So it's like it's a trade off. You have to get good in order to level up, in order to fully utilize all the spells and ashes of war available at your disposal. Even with the nerf, I'm still having some fun. I just
Mm-hmm.
had to kind of adjust my play style, which I still don't agree with. because they actually changed some animations. So for like the first couple of days, there was really hard for me to adjust. Um,
Yeah.
just because I had to get used to like animations and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
um, I don't know. I still give the game like a 9.5 out of 10. There are some drawbacks to it. Um, there are some glitches here and there, invisible walls here and there. Some of the hitboxes sometimes looks a little wonky. I mean, typical Dark Souls shit, but it's still a good game.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, I've been playing the same games: Lost Ark, Triangle Strategy, Horizon. I'm gonna start with Lost Ark. So, I got to tier 3 last week, and I've actually been getting through it. I'm at item level 1340 now, which is like the first kind of threshold within tier 3. Um, I'm gonna be honest now. I'm still enjoying the game a lot. I'm still logging in pretty much every day. I've taken a couple days off here and there the last week or so, but I'm I am admittedly though starting to hit a wall with it. I think where I don't feel like the end game grind feels very rewarding in a lot of ways. The other problem is it's just me and Jet playing this game. Brad just completely went fucking AWOL on us 10 days ago and stopped playing the game entirely. So even though he said he was gonna level up, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
all this shit. So and nobody else is playing it, so it's just me and him. And we honestly we've like not been able to really hook up and do a lot of content together, because I've been a little bit ahead of him, and you know, it kind of doesn't make sense when you're in a new tier of stuff within a tier. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to go backwards and do old content because you're getting less rewards for doing that. So
Yeah.
I've just been kind of doing my own thing. He's been doing his own thing. We are kind of synced up now, though. I think he's about to hit 1340, so we will be doing some things together. I think we'll start doing stuff together, but it's just like we're at the point, though, both of us with our main characters, that the game is just kind of a daily game now, where you log in, you do dailies, and you log out. There is still content I haven't done that I need to do, but I am not finding the motivation to do it right now. I kind of am a little burnt. So I'm like kind of leaving that stuff there to go do it later when I feel like I want to kind of come back to this game and play it some more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the state I'm in with the game. The honestly the gear honing in tier 3 sucks total dick. Like it's just you I'm at the point where I have like a 20% chance to successfully hone, and everybody warned, has been talking about this, all the streamers have and everything like that, so I was well aware this was going to happen, but actually getting there and that being the case, dude, it's just so like it just sucks. You will have 3 or 4 days worth of item farm, like currency farm for honing, and then you will not even get +1 on all your items, because that's how bad the fucking rates are. It's like it depends on how lucky you are, of course. Like you could get lucky and hit everything, but that's a really low chance. It just doesn't feel super good, and it just feels like a real roadblock to progression, which is there so that people don't blow through the content too fast, but at the same time it just doesn't really feel doesn't feel great. The other
Yeah.
sides of progression, though, I will say, like engravings is really slow, but when you actually hit like you actually get enough books to level up your skills to get the next level of engravings, like where you get more of the engraving points, that actually does feel really good because it's a permanent thing. You cannot fail at it. You don't lose it. It also is roster wide, so it if you get an engraving on one character, it works for all your characters across your roster, which I think is really cool. I really like that. The gem system is another one that's really slow. Not really super rewarding in the sense that it doesn't feel super good to like level up your gems. It just takes fucking forever, and you're gonna do it, but it takes forever. It's kind of just one of those things. Like you're not like going to the auction house and buying 85 gems to level it up real fast. You could do that, but it's like I don't know. I think there's a point where it's not worth it to do that anymore. Early on, I think it might make sense, but I'm not in the mood for it, so I'm not really doing it. I'm just kind of getting my gems naturally. The ability stones. This is the one that really sucks total dick. This is like RNG on RNG, man. So basically, ability stones are drops, and they will have 2 engravings on them. Well, technically 3. They'll have 2 positive engravings on them and 1 negative one. And the way this works is you'll get it, and when you go to the ability stone faceter, you will have it'll have, like, depending on the rarity of it. So like we'll just take like a purple epic one for example. The positive one, the all the abilities on it will have 8 kind of like chits for like slots basically. And what you'll do is you'll go spend silver at the faceter, and you'll have a percentage chance to successfully like activate one of the chits every time you spend the silver. And you do this all within one session, by the way. So each stone you have to fully complete before it's like done. You can't like exit out in the middle of a facet session. So the stones will start off with like a 75% chance to activate, and you'll use that on the ability you really want. So it'll either succeed or fail. And if it succeeds, it lowers the chance to succeed the next one by 10%. So it'll go down to 65%. So say I succeed on the first, succeed on the second, I'll be down to like 55%. And then you'll use the third one and say you fail. That'll increase the success chance of the next one by 10% again. So you'd be back up to 65. So basically, you're trying to balance. You want to hit the chits on the negative engraving when your chance is low, and you want to hit the ones on your positive engraving when your chance is high. It's pretty simplistic system, but the problem with this is it's a double layer of RNG, because not only do you need to hit what I'm talking about, you need to hit a certain number of chits to like for the thing to actually be usable. Like you also need the abilities that drop on it to be worthwhile to your class. So that's the other problem, is like you could drop 100 ability stones and none of them could be useful for you, because the combination of abilities that you get is just not good for your class. It's like, so you have that layer of RNG, but then when you do finally get one that is good for your class, you still have to pass this RNG check at the faceter in order for the item to even be usable on your fucking character, or to actually be considered an upgrade. It's like, it doesn't feel great either. So this game is RNG on RNG. Like, if you're going to play this, you need to understand that progression is going to be really slow. It's going to take you a long time. I will say the one thing this game does really well, though, is when you get over these humps, like you actually do get a successful ability stone, you start getting your engraving set up, you hit these next tiers of gear, you start getting your gems upgrade and shit like that. Your power goes up significantly with these things. Like, they are very, very, very impactful to your character's effectiveness. So it feels bad to get there, but when you actually do get there, it's very rewarding. So that's kind of the give and take of the game. So yeah, I'm mostly in daily mode with this. I'm just gonna be kind of doing my shit, logging off, playing something else. It's kind of where I'm at with it right now. So next game I want to talk about is Triangle Strategy. So I'm in chapter 10 right now in this game, which is a little bit over halfway, I've heard. So I'm working my way through the game for sure. I'm definitely taking my time with this game though. But dude, the more I play this game, the more I love it. This game is really fucking good. Like, this is a really good strategy RPG. Like, Square really hit it with this game. Like, the story is fucking, like, I'm super surprised at how good this game's story is so far. Like, I am really interested in this world that they've created, the lore, and what the characters are doing, and who the characters are, and what the actions they take within the story. I'm really enjoying the story in this game. The gameplay I've already talked about. I feel similar about it that I did last week. It's very fun. What I will say, I'm playing on hard, and I am really starting to see that difficulty kind of spike for sure. I hit a mission, my last mission in chapter 9, the last battle I did. Dude, the enemies, oh my god, some of my characters were like getting two-shot, man, like by the enemies I was fighting. Like, they're starting to really hit like trucks, and it's starting to get noticeable. So I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way to the end of the game on hard, because I will say there have been some battles so far that I have had to do 2 or 3 times, which is why my play time is. It's kind of why I'm taking so long playing this, because there are some battles that are legitimately very fucking difficult, and it's surprisingly so. And I'm enjoying it for sure. Getting a tactics game that's actually legitimately difficult is actually not that common. These games are generally tend to be very easy. So I am really kind of enjoying that fact. Actually, the game is really pushing me to my limit in terms of like tactical skill and everything. You really have to pick the right loadout of characters, and in the battle use those characters' abilities in the right ways to really manipulate the battlefield and win the battles that they're presenting you with. So the game is of a very high quality bar, and I'm going to be honest. Of the games I've played so far this year, this is my favorite one. This
Okay.
this is beating out Horizon. This is beating out Lost Ark. I know I put a lot of time into both. It's beating out Final Fantasy Endwalker as well. Like this game is like super fucking good, to the point that I'm probably gonna play it again. Like I think I'm gonna play through it twice, and I don't play games twice, so that should tell you something about how good this shit is. The reason is because like the game's story choices that you get to have, they're starting to significantly. It seems like there are some significant breaks in how you can kind of change the path of the story for the game. There seem to be major events that always happen no matter what you do, but there are differences in between those major events of kind of how you get there, you know. And I want to kind of see how the game changes based on my choices in a second playthrough. So I'm very interested in that in it in that regard as well. So this is the best tactics game I've played since probably Fell Seal 2 or 3 years ago, in I think it was
Okay.
2019 when that one came out. So um so yeah, I mean Burgundy was very good as well, but Burgundy does not have a story that stands up to this. And to be honest, like stories and tactics games are really important to me as well. So that one was like more of a pure gameplay kind of hit, and it was really good too. But this game is just like fucking super good. So thank you, Square Enix. Thank you for making a game in this genre, you know, and I think it's doing pretty well too, actually. So that's a good sign. I'm excited about that. So okay, last game I want to talk about. I know I'm talking a lot here, but it's Horizon. I got to talk about this one. So I finally broke through my mental block with this game 2 days ago. I probably put in about 12 hours so far, 10 or 12 hours. But most of that change from last week happened in the last 2 days. I decided on Tuesday or Monday, whenever, that I was kind of gonna just like break through the story and like focus the story for a little bit. And I did that for a few hours, and I'm kind of in now. Like I'm into the game now. Like that's the thing with Horizon that like I almost forgot is like the game has like the first game has a fucking really good story. That is like the one part of the game that is of an utmost high quality, you know.
Yeah.
And that seems to have carried over into this game, is that the game overall is better than the first game in almost every conceivable way, but the story is just as is at that just as high bar so far for me.
Okay.
So I got to a point in the story where things kind of are starting to reveal themselves a little bit, and some weird shit starting to happen, and the story's going in a direction that I wasn't really expecting, which is good. Like, and that's kind of what the first game did too. Like, it was it had very unexpected turns and twists. You probably could not have guessed what the reality of the world is in the first game when you were playing it either. And that to me, that's good storytelling. It's keeping me on my toes. You know, I don't mind predictable stories sometimes, but I don't want them to be predictable either. So this game's kind of keeping me on my toes in that front. So that's kind of what broke me through the mental block. Is now I'm playing through it, and I am kind of doing some of the side content because I need to, because the story quests are a little bit more. They kind of a strip past my level a bit, so I'm not high enough level to do them right now. So I'm doing some side content, and it's fun. I'm trying to take an approach with this game. I went into the menus the other day and tried to turn off all the map markers, and you can't actually do that, which kind of sucks. I kind of wish you could, because I'm like, that was the mental block for me. I was in the Daunt, and actually, yeah, to follow up on that, I was in the Daunt, and I got out of the Daunt on Sunday and realized that the Daunt is not the whole map I was in. I thought it was, but no, that was actually the whole game. The way people presented the Daunt was that it was like a different area from the rest of the game's map.
Hmm.
That's not the case. It's part of the game's map. It's just like on the
Okay.
far eastern side, and it's like this little sliver. It's pretty. It's like it's not small, but it's not as huge as people are making it out to be. So I got through that, and once I got through that, I was kind of like, oh, okay, this isn't that crazy. This isn't as crazy as I was thinking it was. So I got out of that, and once I've opened up into the world, it's actually like fun to explore. But I'm trying to play the game with my eyes rather than using the map too much, because using the map, it just makes the game feel like a chore. Like it really feels like a checklist game when you play it that way. And this goes back to what we were talking about with Elden Ring, with the map marker discussion and all that stuff. Is that it just like I can't play this game that way. I'm just kind of running around and doing. I'm kind of running in the general direction of an objective I pick out, and then doing things on the way that look interesting to me. Like if I see a landmark that I'm like, oh, okay, I want to go explore that, like a ruin or something that's there. I want to go do that, and then, I'll come out of the other side of that ruin. I'm like fucking nowhere near my objective anymore. And I'm like, but then I see like a fucking, like a nest of machines. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't fought those before. I'm going to go over there and fight those, like, so it's fun in that way. I think I'm having fun doing it this way. It feels more organic. And I'm also finding things that I'm not expecting to find playing that way. I was doing a quest yesterday, and I was running around, and I took out my focus and started looking around, and I saw some like chest markers in the focus that were like way up high in a mountain. And so I was like, I mean, they wouldn't put chests up there if you can't get up there. There's no marker though. There was no like question mark or anything indicating that there was anything up there. So I just started running around the mountain trying to find a way up, and eventually I did. I had to do some really awkward platforming, go some places that maybe weren't intended. Like there weren't like you couldn't like climb. I had to do a lot of jumping and shit to like get up to the spot. But eventually I get up to the area, and like I like go into this cave, and it's like a fucking like ruined parking garage, or like it seemed like either a ruined roadway or a ruined parking garage, because there were a bunch of like ruined cars inside this area, and there was a bunch of like chests with materials in them, and then there was a couple collectible data points and stuff like that. And I found that very cool. I really liked that happened, because it proved to me that this game is more than just its map markers. It's not all map markers. Like there are things off the beaten path that they haven't marked that are worthwhile to go find. And that's exciting to me. It kind of indicates that the way I'm playing the game actually is viable. And I am going to keep playing it that way. So I'm just going to go find shit that I find interesting and go explore it, and let the game kind of take me where it will. So that does mean this game's going to probably take me fucking forever to beat, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind. I like Horizon a lot. I like this game's world, and I like the characters, and I like the story. So I'm not like, my mental block with the game wasn't that the game was bad. It was just like, I don't know. I was just having this hard time with the whole open world and the map markers, and the kind of the way this game opens is really not that interesting from a story perspective. It takes a little bit too long to get good. And that's the thing. I had to push through that. So I pushed through it now. And I'm excited to keep playing it. So it's kind of where I'm at with it. What I will say with the combat, um, obviously I'm low level, so I'm not like fully invested in all the skill trees and everything. I don't have all of Aloy's abilities unlocked, but I will say the combat is, for me right now so far, is just not quite as good as I was hoping. I like melee combat is expanded upon, and it feels better than it did in the first game, easily, like by far. But the problem with it is it's still got limitations that I'm finding frustrating, because I'll be fighting a pack of machines, and using melee attacks against those machines just does not feel like a viable strategy. I am playing on hard, so that may be part of what I'm feeling, but like they just don't do enough damage to justify doing them because they put you in way too much danger. Where if you mistime a dodge, you're fucking dead, like straight up, you know. Aloy on hard can only take like 2 hits early game, you know, from most enemies, especially the machine enemies. So I'm like really feeling that right now, and it kind of sucks because I'm like, there's a lot of potential with melee combat in this franchise. I really wish there were like abilities where she could like jump on a fucking machine and like jab her spear into its fucking like chest and just rip off like a part or something like that. Like really visceral, like God of War style kind of shit, you know. And like the game doesn't really have that from what I've seen so far. I mean, maybe it changes, but I don't think it does. I've been texting with my brother, and there's no real indication that does in any way. So so it seems like the machine combat is still mostly just like, you know, using traps, bombs, or arrows and shit like that, exploiting weaknesses, which is largely the same as the first game. It's more expanded. There's more types of weapons and there's more types of elements and stuff like that, but it's largely like the same style for the most part in that regard. So I do think the melee against human enemies is better for sure. You can definitely feel that it feels better to play, because you can actually like kind of stagger enemies a little bit more because your combos are a little bit more chainable. There's more chain attacks and stuff like that, which is good. But I do kind of wish it extended into that machine combat a little bit more. So, but I'm gonna keep playing it. I'm into it now. I think this and Triangle Strategy are. I'm gonna beat both of these games. It's kind of where my head's at right now. So that's kind of what I'm gonna be doing for the next couple weeks, hopefully. So, Montrell, did you ever pick up Horizon?
Uh, I have it. Yeah, I just didn't pop it in or anything like that.
Okay, yeah, I know you're wrapped up with Elden Ring, but do you plan on playing it?
Um, it's probably gonna be like an end of the year game for me.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I know there's a lot to play, so I am interested in your
Yeah.
thoughts on it, though. Given what we discussed with the map markers and all that stuff, this game is weird.
Okay.
Like it, it's hard to explain. Like this game just doesn't. It feels like it always feels like it's just missing something, you know, like pretty much at like all times of gameplay. Like it's not hitting it 100% for me at any given moment, except for the story segments. That's like the only time that I feel like I'm like really like into the game, you know. But it's like 95% though. It's weird. But then there's like times where the game just feels like Aloy doesn't control super well sometimes, especially platforming in tight spaces. Like she's just not like she like moves too much based on inputs, you know? Like you'll move just a little bit in one direction, like you'll try to like turn her around and she'll like turn around and walk forward a little bit. And it's so fucking irritating because you'll be on a platform and you'll just like fall off the platform because you can't like grab onto the ledge because the ledge isn't programmed to be grabbable. So you'll just fall into a fucking pool of water and you'll have to like swim all the way around to the fucking ladder they gave you to like get back up to where you were. It's just like that shit happened to me in the last story area I was in, and I was getting so mad. I happened like probably 20 times where I fell off into the water and I had to like go swim around and like go through an area I was already in just because I like moved Aloy like an inch the wrong way and she just like fell off. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
so. It is a little irritating in that regard. I think the scope of this game definitely inhibited their ability to refine some of the mechanics of the game for sure. So I can see that. So, all right, Montreal, let's move on to the news. Like I said, there's not a ton of bangers this week, but we do have some interesting stories. So let's start with Sony. They bought another studio, and this time it is Haven Studios, which is Jade Raymond's studio that she started last year, and it is one of the studios Sony has working on a AAA multiplayer live service game. Um, and this was uh, this was part of Jade Raymond's statement on Sony's blog. Quote, 1 year ago this month, we embarked on a journey to start Haven Studios with a small team and big ambitions. Our goal was to build a studio where we can make the kind of games we've always wanted to create and the games we've longed to play. We've made amazing progress in a short time thanks to our talented, passionate team and their exceptional contributions. We established a culture at Haven grounded in kindness, adaptability, and courage that unlocks creativity. Our first new IP for PlayStation is on track to deliver a AAA multiplayer experience with a vision to build a systemic and evolving world focused on freedom, thrill, and playfulness that will keep players entertained and engaged. 4 years, end quote. It continues for a couple more paragraphs, but I'm not going to read all that. You get the idea. Montrell, Stoney's been going on a bit of a buying spree lately with studios, and this is the latest one. They have Haven hasn't even been around that long, as they said in the quote, about a year. So what do you think? What do you make of this deal for Sony?
I think they're just trying to buy up studios, or not buy up studios, but they are trying to get a live action studio, um, or a live action game, and they're following up on what they said last week or a couple weeks ago that their whole mantra is to get live action, or live action games. I'm sorry, live service games. I'm really tired, y'all.
Live action
Live
game.
service
That sounds
game.
interesting.
So live service games, and since the studio is making a live service game, I mean, I never thought they would just buy a studio for them making a live service game, but maybe they seen gameplay and it has a lot of potential. I mean, they already bought Destiny or Bungie for Destiny.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting to see what's going to happen. I don't think they're doing this to combat. I know a lot of takes may be like, oh, they're doing this to combat Microsoft buying a whole bunch of studios, but I think this is something completely different. I think their strategy is that live service strategy that they're trying to follow up on.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a direct response to Microsoft. However, I think Microsoft's strategy has certainly made a change happen at Sony with their approach because they haven't been doing this for the last decade. Like they don't just buy studios. They haven't just bought studios, you know. What I will say Haven is a studio they seem to had a pretty big hand in getting started. Like I'm pretty sure they invested in the studio early on to get them off the ground. So I think they've had a relationship with them, but it hasn't been for very long and they've not made anything. So it's not like they're proven. They don't have a proven track record or anything like that. So this is an odd move for Sony in the sense that like I wouldn't call this like an organic studio acquisition. They're kind of just buying something up here, you know, locking it down, which is kind of the antithesis of what they've been doing the last 10 years. They really have only bought studios that they've had a long-standing relationship with. So it is
Yeah.
interesting that they're doing this at this moment, which to me indicates that they are feeling some pressure from Microsoft. I don't think this is like directly to compete with anything specific, but it is clear that they kind of feel, I think they feel like they need to make acquisitions, you know,
Mm.
whether that's big or small. So, and the other aspect of this is the live service part. They are definitely doubling down on that. And we have seen recently the kind of fruits of that a little bit with Gran Turismo 7, where they released that game and then added microtransactions to it after it came out. So I'm hoping that that is not a window into the future we are looking at with Sony. Because it's kind of an ugly situation with that game. And I don't like that's like an Activision move, man. That's what Activision did with like Crash Team Racing, the remake, you know. Like that's really shady shit. And I don't know why Sony felt the need to do that. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it worked. Like the fucking game is like an 87 on Metacritic, so maybe they knew that's what they were going for. You know, they knew that they would get that, and then that would make the game look good forever. But users are not responding well. They are review bombing the game now as a result. So
And this is Gran Turismo, right?
yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a little bit about it, but it's just like I don't know too much information on Gran Turismo, so
Mhm.
I can't really comment and say like what's good and bad about it, but it does suck that they did the review the whole. I think Mike. I would say Microsoft, but I think Call of Duty did that.
Uh,
Where they released
COD
the
did do it
game.
once, yeah.
Okay, and it was another. Did another game do that?
Yeah, it was
They
Crash Team
released.
Racing, the
Okay,
remake.
okay, okay, yeah. So I don't know. I think that's very shady, and I'm not a big fan of it.
Mhm.
And for it to be a main title like Gran Turismo, that's really, really fucked up in my opinion. Because a lot of people have been
Right.
waiting for this shit. So
Right, that's like a core game, man, you know? Like, this is
yeah,
like I mean, this is one of PlayStation's, like, pillars, you know, is Gran Turismo. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll, maybe talk about that in the next couple weeks, so alright, let's move on. CD Projekt teased something, and they confirmed on Twitter this week that they are already working on the next Witcher game, and they called it. They are kicking off a new saga for the franchise in a new technology partnership with Epic Games. So they did announce that this game is going to be made in Unreal Engine 5 rather than their Red Engine, which they have used for their pretty much all their projects, I believe, up to this point. So um, yeah, new Witcher game, Montreal, coming off of Cyberpunk. Um, I mean, what's your confidence level in this game?
very low.
Yeah,
Very low. They still have a lot to do as far as like regaining my confidence. And to be honest with you, I wasn't even the big CD. I wasn't the biggest CD Project Red fan in the first place.
hmm
It took me so long. Like I'm talking like Witcher came out in 2015. I didn't play the game until 20. I had the game for the longest, but I didn't play it until recently. Actually,
yeah,
maybe a little bit earlier than that. But I
Y-
just thought their games were kind of like overrated.
yeah,
Um, I did play The Witcher and I did beat it, but like I said, I just thought their games were kind of overrated. It took me so long to just butter up to The Witcher.
yeah,
Um, so when Cyberpunk was announced, I wasn't all too jazzed about it.
hmm
I was jazzed about it because it was a Cyberpunk game, because I really wanted a Cyberpunk themed game.
yeah.
But besides that, I don't know. I don't have confidence in it. I'm sorry. Like The Witcher was a phenomenal game,
Yeah,
but it wasn't enough to to push them in the stratosphere like BioWare in my eyes, right?
yeah,
Like they just weren't there, and a lot of people gave them that title, and I was just like, I don't know. So
yeah. So overall, like Cyberpunk kind of tainted my view of them. Honestly, because if I look back at their games, like honestly, like with an honest lens,
hmm
um like the only one that I would consider truly like phenomenal is The Witcher 3, you know. Witcher 1 is good, like it's a good game, but it's not amazing. It doesn't really hold up today. It plays like shit now,
it's yeah. I
you
was
know.
supposed to say it's good for a time it came
Yeah.
out.
But even then I wouldn't have put it in the upper stratosphere of games in that time frame, you know. Like it doesn't stand up to Mass Effect. Like it doesn't really stand up to a lot of games of that era for me. So it like it's in the good tier for sure. And Witcher 2 um is better, but like not like that game. I don't think that game's that good either. I didn't come away from that game blown away. I was like, this game's good, it's serviceable. It's just like I don't find it like amazing. I think the thing with them is like their gameplay has actually never been that good. And
Yeah,
I'm including The Witcher 3 in this.
yeah.
Their story and world building and dialogue has been the thing that has carried their games. Especially the Witcher games. Like the dialogue and world building and characters in those games are fucking excellent. And I know The Witcher is an established franchise that they're using, but dude, the way they embodied those characters is just like so fucking good. Like they captured the tone of The Witcher perfectly, you know, in
Yeah.
their games and in the characters. And Geralt is like fucking perfect. Like like there are some minor changes they made to certain things that some people have issues with, fans of the books, but for me, like I think they did a really good job of embodying the Witcher's world overall. So that's where their games have been carried. Cyberpunk I haven't played. Obviously, more of the criticism is obviously with the way the game released. But so in this case, with this game, The Witcher is their wheelhouse. I think they can make this game. I'm sure they're comfortable making this game. They know how to make this
Yeah.
game. They know how to do it well. Will it be a 10 out of 10 generational game the way The Witcher 3 was? I don't think so. That's not my expectation. Um,
Yeah. And this is not like I'm not going to shit on like Cyberpunk or anything. The thing I will say about Cyberpunk, in my opinion, the 20 hours I did put into it, the world building is definitely there. I just don't think there's enough. So the world building is there, the characters are there, in my opinion.
mhm.
Um, well, not necessarily the characters because I wasn't really too fond of them, but like the world surrounding the characters, the scenarios they're in, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Uh, it's really cool, and I love the concept of cyberpunk. I just wish it had the RPG elements of The Witcher 3. Like if it had that, then I possibly could have looked past all that shit, that the glitches and everything like that. It just didn't have that RPG element for me,
Mhm.
that I was looking for. And to be honest, it didn't have the gameplay element that I was looking for as well. But even that, I could have overlooked the gameplay element, the combat or whatever, for a really strong story, and they didn't have that. As like The Witcher 3 did. Like The Witcher 3 to me was carried by the early game. I would say was carried by the story, and then I would say mid game to late game, the combat. Once you start getting all your spells, you understand the game a little bit better. The combat does get better drastically. Like
Mhm.
it's crazy. It's like a power spike in the fucking MOBA. Like it's crazy how good the game gets towards
Yeah.
the mid and late game. And even for The Witcher 2, when I played it, uh, I had the I had the roughest trouble getting past. It was this one forest you had to enter, like your first monster hunt, and I had the hardest time getting past that monster hunt. But then once I got past and understood the mechanics of the game and how I had to study, each monster before I went out and fought it, and gathered materials and everything, then I was like, oh, okay, this game is like, really, really. You are a hunter, you are a witcher, you're learning the game, and they kind of took that element away from Witcher 3, in my opinion. It kind of toned it down. It
Well,
wasn't as Jurassic in Witcher 2 as
yeah.
it was in Witcher 3.
All I'll
It's
say
still
to that
there.
is play on Death March, and that the game feels that way. If you play on
Okay.
normal, the game feels stupid. The game is totally unbalanced on normal. Like you can't even fucking
Okay.
die on normal. Like it's so
Okay.
dumb. Like on Death March, like you die in like 2 or 3 hits to even like the weakest fucking enemies early game, So you really have to know how to fight them, in that on that difficulty. Meaning you need to go in with
Mhm.
potions, you need to go in with the right signs, you need to go in, you kind of need to tailor your build to certain things on that difficulty. So that's the thing for me. The experience I had with The Witcher 3 playing it on Death March was one of the most amazing game experiences I've ever had. Like it was super good. The fucking hunts on the monsters, like the contracts you would do to kill monsters, where you would get to the point where you fight the monster in a basically like a boss battle. They felt so fucking good because it wasn't like, it was not over in like 10 seconds, a few swings of your sword and the enemy was dead. You really had to, it was a fucking fight, dude. Like you had to go in there and time your hits and dodge and get out of there and make sure you have your potion, the right potion on, and then you use the signs they're fucking weak to and shit like that. But that was the thing. It was like you had to go learn that shit by going to talking to people who would tell you about the monster, and you would learn about it and it would put it in your like monster encyclopedia, and you have to
Yeah,
go
your
read the
your
lore entry.
bestiary.
Yeah, you have to go
Yeah.
read the bestiary entry to go figure out what it's weak to and like what strategies work against it, and then you would go do it in the game and it would work, you know. So it felt really good in that regard. It was like super fucking immersive for me because of that difficulty. I did like when I originally played the game, I was playing it on normal. It took me 2 times to beat The Witcher. Like I played through half the game and put it down, and then came back like a year and a half later and actually like
Yeah,
started it
see.
over and beat it again. The reason I put it down the first time, it was because I played it on normal and the game was so fucking easy. It just didn't feel like fun.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
I played it on. Is there, because there's a difficulty between Death March and normal, right?
yes,
I
hard.
think I played it on hard mode. I played it on hard mode, and that's how I felt with the game. Like the second, or actually it was my third time, because so what I did was the first time I played it on normal mode, I was like, this is not fun. The second time I played on death march mode, I was like, this is too fucking hard. So and then the third time I played it on hard mode, and I was like, okay, this is like a good balanced mode for me. Um, it had the right amount of action and the right amount of preparation, but it still felt dangerous to go into certain areas of the world. Whereas in normal mode, I was just running fucking everywhere. And then
Yeah.
with like with hard mode with death march, I felt scared to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then with hard mode, I was still cautious. Like, okay, I can't just run up to these fucking lurkers because they'll fucking wreck me. They're like level 8 right
Oh
now.
yeah.
They'll fucking
Yeah.
shit on me right now.
Mhm.
So it's like in each level felt really like worth it. So I mean, like, just getting back on topic with The Witcher in general. I am interested because I mean, hopefully they make a more. I don't think they are going to do that. But it seems like their combat was in The Witcher 3. They wanted to experiment with like a more fast paced combat. I would like a more faster paced combat, but I would still want the elements that make The Witcher The Witcher. I would still want the planning, preparation, and everything of that nature. So hopefully we get this, or we're not even a fucking Witcher. We're like a witch or something like that, or one of the mages or something like that. I mean, that would be cool to see. I don't know,
Yeah.
or maybe we're starting the Witcher Academy or some shit like that. So I don't know. It'd just be really cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, which that's what they indicated, is that this will not be a game about Geralt. So we will be playing somebody else. And the Witcher pendant they showed, they said is a lynx. So
Oh, so we're not even doing the wolf
yeah, it's not even the
school.
wolf school. It's going to be a different Witcher school. So
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, obviously this game is fucking years out, obviously, so it's not like we're getting it
Yeah.
anytime soon. But I will say the change to Unreal 5 or Unreal Engine 5 is interesting. Because BioWare has made the same decision with Mass Effect.
So is that official?
Yeah,
Oh, that is official for Mass Effect. It's not
yeah,
official for
Dragon Age.
Dragon Age.
Right.
There we go. Okay.
So I think we're gonna start seeing this more. I think companies are starting to they're starting to realize that the advantages of having your own engine might not be worth it
Mm-hmm.
when you have turnover, because the problem with that is that hiring people who know Red Engine is impossible because they only worked at your company, meaning they're not going to
Yep.
come back. So
Yep.
hiring people who know Unreal Engine, on the other hand, that's easy because plenty of people have used Unreal Engine. It's a common engine that is used widely in the industry. So I think we will see that more. But it is interesting that CD Projekt made the decision, but they've had a lot of turnover in the last few years. So it kind of makes sense at a certain point. So all right, let us move on. Our next story this week is from Metro UK. So they're reporting that EA and DICE have already begun working on the next Battlefield game, in that the specialist system is going to potentially get reworked or maybe even removed. But it's to the point that they might be abandoning 2042. Um, but the interesting part about this report is that they want to try to release the game in 2023, next fall, when Call of Duty is going to not release a game, where they're skipping next year. So they're going to try to turn this game around in a year and a half. And given what happened with Battlefield 2042, that kind of feels ill advised. But Montrell, what do you think about this?
Um, I'm actually really upset by this. I get the strategy. Oh my God, Call of Duty's taking a year off. All hands on deck, and I'm imagining they're not the only studio doing this. I think a lot of studios now are about to be doing super crunch time just to meet demand by the holiday of 2023,
Mm-hmm.
because Call of Duty's not being released that year.
Yep.
So I understand the strategy. But my thing is, I paid $70 for this game. I know there was a point where you could have got it back. You probably could have got your money back. I did not reach that point. I know PlayStation was doing it. I forgot when to do it. 'Cause probably was working too much. But to me, people are like, Cyberpunk is the biggest blunder of the 20th century or whatever 21st century of gaming. I think this game is, man. Like this game really flew under the radar. They should be thanking Cyberpunk because Cyberpunk really tanked a lot of the blows and everything. I think people just had like complaining fatigue at one point. But this game is absolutely ass. Like it's absolutely trash. I cannot believe that they're just saying fuck it. At least CD Projekt Red committed to fixing the game, sort of, and they did deliver. They released the next gen version of the game, and a lot of people are satisfied with the game. And I'm probably gonna pick it up again when it's like $10. But like this game, they are just saying, in my opinion, they're saying fuck it. Like, and I know people are saying like, well, they always do that with their games. Like they turn over one game and they're immediately working on the other game. But this, like, we don't need this type of news. And I mean, this is a leak, yes, but this is like you should have kept this really under wraps because this is really, really bad PR for you. Because it's just not a good thing. Like this is probably one of the worst Battlefields I've ever seen in my life. Like, and that's including Battlefield 5, which is objectively bad. But you know what? Someone mention it to me. DICE has been getting away with this for the longest. They've been releasing the last 3 or 4 Battlefield games have been fucking broken on release, and they fixed them. And that's true. I think it started with Battlefield 4, actually. Battlefield 4, I remember you couldn't even do multiplayer for some reason. It was something weird with Battlefield 4. I can't remember what it was. Oh, it just had really, really bad latency, and it was like unplayable, especially on the map where you drop the big ass building in the middle of the map. Your game would literally fucking crash. It was insane.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously Battlefield 1 had the same issues, and then Battlefield 5 had the same issues, and now this game has the same issues as well, but it's to a degree where it just wasn't quality checked at all. And on top of that, like, they changed the game the way the game plays with the specialists, or I call them heroes. They're just fucking heroes. Like it's a hero shooter now and everything of that nature. And this just wasn't what people wanted. And I'm surprised everyone's so quiet about this. That's what I'm surprised about. Like, this is bigger than like even the fucking Battlefront 2 situation, in my opinion. Like, this is huge, and no one's saying anything about it, but the Battlefield community.
Yeah, so there are some apologists weirdly in this Twitter thread trying to defend DICE and EA.
Yep, I saw it.
Saying, oh, well, this game's probably already been in development. Like, oh, what the fuck is that? It's how game development works. It's like, I mean, okay, even if it's true, that's true, which it probably is. But even if that's true, it probably hasn't been in development that long. And the thing is, EA is already setting DICE up to make the same mistake literally fucking next year. Like, like, do you really think they're going to delay this game if it's not ready? Because they didn't do it with Battlefield 2042. And the thing is, with Battlefield 2042, there was reason to delay it because they had competition. Now, in a window where they're not going to have as much competition, like meaning Call of Duty, they're not going to fucking delay it. If the game's shit and isn't ready for prime time, they're going to fucking push it out, dude. Like, they're going to push it out. Like, I know they are.
This is a really bad move. This is like the only way they can even do some kind of inching of like getting the community back. If it's like a bad company game, they cannot release like a 2043. They cannot release a Battlefield 6. It has to be that. But the thing is, people are still going to buy the game. One of my friends who love Battlefield, he said he's done. He's like, I'm not buying another Battlefield game. He's like, for you, this is the Call of Duty game for you that it is for me. And I remember at some point I just stopped buying Call of Duty games. I think it was Modern Warfare 3, actually.
Yeah.
I just stopped. That was the last one I bought. Besides Modern Warfare that just came out in 2019. And I bought that for the campaign. So I think I'm there with Battlefield 2, man. I think this is I didn't buy Battlefield 5 on release. I bought that maybe a year after it got released. When I got my PS5, I bought Battlefield 5.
Yeah.
and because I just wanted to test it and see how how good it runs, and it was on sale for like $20 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I did buy Battlefield 1 on release. I actually love Battlefield 1. Um, I that game was really fun, even though it was broken in certain parts. But that game was extremely fun. I did buy Battlefield 4 on release.
Mm-hmm.
That game was extremely broken, and I did not have fun playing that game until maybe 3 months into the game cycle, and they fixed a lot of the latency issues and stuff like that. The servers, um, and it's really unfortunate because that Battlefield portal they have in Battlefield 42 where you can play the past games with the past models and everything, but it's still playing the newer engine. But you're still playing the old style of Battlefield, but with the newer engine and everything of that nature. It's almost like they remastered those games inside the Battlefield game.
Yeah.
Those games like those play really well. Like that's like Battlefield for me. But the actual 2042 mode, it fucking sucks. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely not. I'm not. And what sucks about this is I played the beta and I still had faith that I'm like, man, Dice got that quality though, man. Like still got that quality. And I played the beta and the beta was fucking shit. And that should have been. But you know how they always say like, oh, well, this is like a last year's build and everything like that. And I'm like, the one time I actually did believe him, I'm like, okay, this is like, this is not going to be the final game.
Yeah.
There's just no way they're going to release this game like this.
Yeah.
And they did. And it was
it's wild. Dude, I don't understand this honestly, this reeks of okay.
Mismanagement or something.
I'm a manager at my job now, right? So I have a lot closer relationship with people in management than I used to, like high level management, like directors and above, than I used to. So I kind of have a window into how those people are. And I feel like this whole thing with Battlefield 2042 and then this story coming out, I think this feels like a severe ego thing where somebody at EA or DICE or both, a combination of a group of leaders at those companies, they are they are not, they're like, it's like they feel like everything's fine, like they're not like, it seems like they probably are internally acknowledging issues and trying to learn from Battlefield 2042, but at the same time they're like brushing it off their shoulders, and just moving forward, which is fine. You kind of need to be that way as a leader in a corporation. However, like, it feels really foolish to then go ahead and turn around and be like, okay, you have 20 months to make the next Battlefield game from this moment and fucking get it out for like, put a deadline like that. It feels like they're like really hard-headed, whoever this is. And even if and maybe the game has been in development for 2 years, I don't fucking know, but I kind of doubt it. That's not really the way DICE has ever really operated. Like, we don't get Battlefield game releases. Yeah, we don't get Battlefield games back to back. Like, they come out with 3-year gaps, generally 3 to 4 year gaps between them, and meaning that like they're made one after the other. Like they're made in sequence. They're not made like together, like next to each other. So and the idea that like Battlefield 2042 was being made at the same time of Battlefield 5, like at the end of Battlefield 5's development cycle, like, it's just like, come on, this is what came of it. Like, come on, dude. This
no
way, dude. Like, I don't believe that. So
I want to say, well, you know what? I don't know. Maybe their team is really huge because I wonder like who was working on the Battlefront games while they were working on the Battlefield games.
They have two teams. They definitely have two teams. Like, they definitely have multiple teams. But think about, I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But think about the Battlefront games. There wasn't a Battlefield game really that close to those either, right? Like, there was at least a year to 2 year gap between those. But I do think there were multiple teams. I do think they have multiple teams. So they probably have now multiple Battlefield games in development at the same time. But that doesn't mean they did like 2 years ago. So,
well, it's interesting, right? I just thought about this. Do you think like Vince Zampella is pushing this? because he is the leader over that now. He's running that show.
Maybe he thinks he can shepherd the team and get it done. I don't know. Like Battlefield 2042 wasn't his thing, right? That wasn't his
Yeah,
baby.
and maybe he's like, that's already cooked. We can't do anything about that. No, no. And I get it, right? Like I said, like I make decisions in the field every day where I'm like, all right, well, we made a mistake, or no, whatever. What's the next move? Like that's that's what my team's looking forward to me for. Like that's why I got the contractors and everything. They looking at me like, what's the next move? We made this mistake. What's the next move?
Mm-hmm.
And I get
Right.
that. But I don't know, this is really rubbing me the wrong way. But this is not really good, like, confidence in your consumer base or your client or whoever you're working with. Like, it's just,
Well, it's like
and
spitting
I
in their
understand.
face, dude. Like,
Yeah, and
to
I
cut bait with
understand.
this
It's
game
like,
so soon. I don't know.
yeah, it's like I understand this is under new management. But damn, like maybe that rumor. I think me and you talked about it on this. Maybe it was off stream. Maybe it was on stream, off stream. I think we talked about it where they were actually considering doing a free to play for 2042, and
Yes.
maybe that's what they're planning on doing,
Yeah.
like and like cutting loss.
I don't even think they're going to do that, though. I think in a few months they're going to announce that they're ceasing development. The game will still be live if you want to play it, but they're abandoning ship. And I think it makes sense. I think the thing is, this is a leak, right? This wasn't intended to be heard.
Exactly,
So
yeah, and
I
that's
think,
why I'm not super mad over it, but
yeah, yeah.
I am still upset about it. It was a leak, to be fair. So yeah.
But at the same, like, the thing is, I understand where EA is thinking here. Maybe Vince is making a decision, like he's like, look guys, this game is fucked. We're not gonna fix this. This is gonna take way too long to fix. This is not worth it. This isn't a situation where we're gonna like like gain people back to us for fixing this game. Like, I just think it's fucked. Let's move on to the next one. Let's make the next one really good, because I mean, if you think about it, like you've been saying, Battlefield's kind of reputation has really like fallen off in the last 5+ years, and he knows that too. Like, I don't think he's an idiot. Like, he probably knows what the feeling of the fan base is with the franchise.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
could be part of the plan, is that they want to use whatever this next game is, cut bait with 2042, focus on the next game, and make this next game like the fucking coming up, like second coming of Battlefield. Like, I don't know. So maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's the thought process. This is their window. It is an opportunity with Call of Duty not coming out, but it's risky. There's not that much time to get there. And this is, dude, we literally didn't we fucking called this when that shit, we talked about that shit a few weeks ago. Like I knew this was gonna happen, where companies are gonna, they like smell blood, dude. They see that vacuum and they have to fill it. Like, they have to fill that void with something, and they feel compelled to take advantage of the situation. And we're gonna get, I think, next October, September, October, November of 2023, we're gonna get a lot of half-baked games. Like, I really feel that is coming. So
Man, that's so unfortunate because yeah, people are gonna be trying to get that date out.
yeah.
Call of Duty. Wow, it's kind of wild. I'm saying this, but like maybe we needed Call of Duty to keep everybody else in line. With
I
that
know,
big
dude.
cheese
It's like,
gone,
yeah, 1 year where Call of Duty's gone, and it's like all hell's gonna break loose. Like, it's gonna throw
yeah,
the whole
man.
industry off, dude. Shit's weird. I mean, it's been a staple for fucking 15 years. Like, it's like, dude, I as much as I don't like what COD is and what it's done to the industry, at the same time, it is almost like you know how when the recession happened, they bailed out like a bunch of companies because they were too big to fail. It's kind of like that's what Activision feels like. They're like the big fucking banks. We can't, like, you take them out and everything falls apart. Like, I don't know. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I think next fall is gonna be really funny, really fun to watch. So
yeah. I can see like Nintendo possibly trying to rush something out.
Sony
I
definitely
don't know.
will.
Sony
I
definitely
think
will,
Xbox will
100%.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So I was on Twitter. I was looking on Twitter and I saw fucking Paper Mario trending. Of all things, like, what the fuck, did they just announce a new Paper Mario game or some shit? And the answer is no. some indie studios making a Paper Mario like look-alike styled game basically, and I just dropped the trailer in here for you, man. It looks fucking it kind of looks fucking good. Like it looks exactly like Paper Mario. So
Yeah, I've heard people been complaining about Paper Mario, or Paper Mario fans have been complaining about Paper Mario because it's not
mhm.
the last couple of games that came out haven't been Paper Mario. They've been
Yeah,
like a skin of Paper Mario, if that makes any sense.
right. They forgot
So
why we like Paper Mario.
yeah,
um, and
it's,
yeah, what's the game called? Sorry, let me get the name of the game here real
uh,
quick.
the Outbound Ghost.
Yeah, the Outbound Ghost. It's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. It looks like it was just announced a couple hours ago. So, but check that out. Looks good, guys. If you like Paper Mario. So, all right, Montreal. Let us move on. We've got MPD numbers for February. And this was a very chaotic month for video games, but the numbers are interesting. So let's start with the overalls. Total video game sales were 4.384 billion versus 4.671 billion last year. So that is a negative 6% change, 6% decrease in sales. Video game content, physical, digital, full game, digital DLC microtransactions, subscriptions. Um, for this year, 3.908 billion versus 4.071 billion last year. That is a negative 4% change. Video game hardware, 295 million this year versus 406 million last year. That is a negative 27% change. And then video game accessories, 180 million versus 194 million last year. Negative 7% change. So down all the way around, which is interesting because we had a fuck ton of big games come out this past month. So I find that odd, but let's go through the top 20 for the month. Number 1, Elden Ring, no surprise after what we talked about last week. The sales numbers that Bandai was reporting. That is really impressive though, because this is only reporting on the like 4 days the game was on the market for the month versus the rest of the month.
Oh my
So
god.
very impressive showing for Elden Ring. Number 2, Horizon Forbidden West. Number 3, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Number 4, Dying Light 2, Stay Human. Number 5, Total War Warhammer 3. Number 6, Call of Duty Vanguard. Number 7, Madden NFL 22. Number 8, Mario Kart 8. Number 9, FIFA 22. Number 10, Minecraft. Number 11, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 12, Mario Party Superstars. Number 13, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 14, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 15, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 16, Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy, the Definitive Edition. Number 17, NBA 2K22. Number 18, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Number 19, Far Cry 6. And number 20, Legend of Zelda and Breath of the Wild. Triangle Strategy is not in the top 20, which, maybe it's not selling as well as I was thinking it was. Shit. Well, actually, sorry. Triangle Strategy came out in March. Never mind. We're safe. Everybody. We're safe. So Elden Ring, I do want to read this quote. These numbers we get courtesy of VentureBeat, by the way, every month. They do a great job summarizing. So this is a quote from the article. Quote, Elden Ring debuted as both the best-selling game of February 2022 as well as 2022 year-to-date. Launch month sales of Elden Ring were the second highest for any track title released in the past 12 months, trailing only Call of Duty Vanguard, which was released in November 2021. After 1 month on the market, Elden Ring ranked as the 5th best-selling game of the 12-month period ending in February 2022. Elden Ring ranked first on Steam and Xbox platforms in February, while placing second on PlayStation, which was second to Horizon Forbidden West, of course. Anything on that list jumping out to you, Montrell?
Total War actually jumped out to me.
Right.
I was kind of expecting everything else to sell, but holy fuck, Total War being at number 5 over Call of Duty Vanguard and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, this was a hotly anticipated game on PC. because it's Total War Warhammer 3, and this is the final release in that saga of games. Which I mean, the first one came out like I don't know 6 years ago or something like that. It's been out for a while. The thing is, Total War Warhammers 1, 2, and 3 are basically one big game that they've been releasing over the course of the last several years, because
Okay.
you can mix and match shit from each game and play whatever you want. So Warhammer 3 is compatible with Warhammer 2 and the original Total War Warhammer. And you can make one giant fucking campaign with all the factions from every one of the 3 games, if you want, and you can have this absolutely massive game that will fucking crash your computer probably. But so I think this game was highly anticipated in its market. As a result, people have been waiting for this one for a while. Warhammer 2 came out a while ago too. It's been 3 years, I think, or more. And so they've been working on this last one for quite a bit.
Well, I mean, that still goes to show how people. Will you consider Warhammer RTS? I mean,
It's a Total War. It's a Total War series, so it's a mix of 4X games like Civilization and stuff like that. That's the overworld map where it's turn based, and then the battles that happen are RTS, real time battles
okay,
with pause.
that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, no, the total
That's
dude. Montreal, the Total War games are dope. I wish I had time to play them. Like, it is a series I'm so sad that I've never invested more time into. I just don't have the time for it, man. They're just so involved. Like, it's such a, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, dude, this is a game we could play multiplayer, actually, by the way. Jet's super into it. Brian, he plays it as well. I'm sure some of our other friends would play it as well. Like, we could play like a fucking mega campaign in this game. But that's probably the only way I'm gonna play it. Playing it solo against AI is just not like super appealing to me. So
this game looks so fucking fun. Oh
but
my
dude,
god!
oh my god, I know it looks so dope. Oh, it looks so good. It really does. So, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things. If you guys all bought it and you're all like, "Oh, Justin, let's play Total War," I probably would buckle and do it. But so it's of a high quality too. The Total War games have always had a pretty consistent quality. They've had some bad releases over the years. Like, I remember Rome Total War 2
Yeah,
was
I
had a
remember that
really
one.
really rocky launch, but they eventually fixed it, and like, it's a great game now. So but for the most part they have a very high quality bar. So
Yeah, I know the Total War games have been like, because I just remember Total War Rome 1. I remember that being like a big thing, and I remember watching it. It was so big, in fact, that the History Channel was using it. It was so accurate that they were using it for like their documentaries, where they're like displaying
yeah,
wars and stuff like that from the
yeah,
Romans, and
yeah,
they
dude,
were using
it's
Total
awesome.
War, and I was
Yeah,
like, "That's crazy."
yeah,
And it would say like, at the bottom of the game, the screen, like, game footage captured from like Total War or whatever.
yeah,
I just thought that was like really fucking cool. But like you said as well, I've never had the time to invest into the franchise, and then once I finally got a computer that can handle it, I just never had time. I kind of forgot about it. But like,
yeah, me too.
even Warhammer 3, like, I'm not even a big Warhammer fan, but like just I'm just watching like a review of it real quick, and I'm skipping through the section they have. And it's just like the overview map is like a tabletop, and then
Yeah,
like you go into an actual battle. Like, it's kind of what I've been wanting from a game, but I just never like
yeah.
I didn't know it existed until now.
There's a reason this series is popular, dude. Like, dude, Rome Total War, the original one, that was the one that put this franchise on the map, in the mainstream way. Because, dude, I
Mhm.
remember that game. I was in high school, and I remember that game, and fucking all my friends were super into this game, and none of them were gamers. These were people who, like, I don't consider gamers really, and they were fucking like obsessed with it. Dude, my friend Aiden was like, he was really into Civilization and Total War, Rome Total War. Like, he was really into these history games. And dude, it just was like, he was like, yeah, man, you get your fucking Praetorians, and then you get your trebuchets, and then you get your fucking cavalry coming in and flanking the enemy archers and shit. And like, you got your archers on the fucking high ground shooting down and shit. And fucking dude, it's fucking awesome. And then you like break through the enemy gates and you sack the city and you fucking destroy everything. It's so fucking cool, like dude, it was so funny to like hear him talk about this because he's just like he's not really a gamer in a way we are, but
Yeah.
like this game, this franchise like really captured him, for that period of time. So, but yeah, I don't know. Someday, I've always told myself someday I will pick a total war game and I will get really, really, really into it, but I've just never found the right one to do that with. So I will
Yeah.
sometime. Like I said, if we ever do it for multiplayer, that would probably be the thing that gets me over the hump. Honestly. So otherwise it is interesting to look at last month, dude, like how many of the games that were sellers, like that are in the top 20 didn't even come out in February, like
Yeah.
literally 16 of the 20 games didn't come out in February. Like that's fucking crazy. That might explain why the numbers are kind of um depressed, I guess. Is like it was like very top heavy with new games, and then that was it. Everything else was like total shit. Like barely sold
Yeah.
anything, So I do find that interesting. Um uh Top 20 best-selling games of the year so far. I think this will be interesting as well. Elden Ring, number 1 already after 4 days of fucking being out. Pokemon Legends Arceus, number 2. Number 3 is Horizon Forbidden West. Number 4 is Call of Duty Vanguard. Number 5, Madden NFL 22. Number 6, Dying Light 2. Number 7, Monster Hunter Rise, which is interesting.
Wow.
Monster
Okay.
Hunter Rise has sold more games this year than the next game on this list. Number 8, Total War Warhammer 3. Number 9 is God of War 2018. Number 10, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 11 is Mario Kart 8. Number 12, FIFA 22. Number 13, Minecraft. Number 14, Mario Party Superstars. Number 15, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 16, Pokemon Diamond, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. Number 17, Far Cry 6. Number 18, NBA 2K22. Number 19, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 20, Battlefield 2042, which is a travesty for all those people who bought that game. Ugh, it's very sad.
Including myself.
Yeah, it is interesting that something like Monster Hunter is so high on the list this year. God of War, Spider-Man. I mean, these are old games, like year 2.
I'm really surprised at Monster Hunter, man, because
it came out on PC in January, so you have to take.
Oh yeah,
account.
that's right.
That's
That's right. That's
why.
right.
But it's still surprising to see it that high, honestly. So, but we will be talking about that game here in a few minutes. Otherwise, not much. I mean, it's early in the year. We'll see this list kind of. The old games will fade out as the year goes on. So.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it in like June. What's gonna happen to this list,
or even later, man? Like I'm interested to see it in like November. Like with like Harry Potter maybe on there. Fucking COD of course will be on there. But then I'm trying to think of God of War. Probably we're expecting that to come out. Gotham Knights. We got a lot of games still coming. Later this year. So it is an exciting year. 2022 is stacked for sure. All right, Montrell, let's move on. Speaking of games tangentially related to Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League has been officially delayed to spring of 2023. This was an announcement from Rocksteady on Twitter. This is their quote. "We've made the difficult decision to delay Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League to spring 2023. I know a delay is frustrating, but that time is going into making the game the best we can. I look forward to bringing the chaos to Metropolis together. Thanks for your patience." End quote. Not a surprise. I think we both kind of called this, right?
Yeah.
But it's good. I mean, they need to take the time they need. This game looks ambitious, and I think this is the kind of game, honestly, especially for a studio like Rocksteady that has not released a game, like a real full game, since 2015 in Arkham Knight. They really need to get this right after 8 years. Like, this game cannot be in a bad state. Like, it needs to be ready for prime time. So
yeah, I agree.
All right, moving on. All right, Monster Hunter. they had a little stream this past week, and they announced that Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, the G rank DLC add-on for Monster Hunter Rise, is coming on June 30th of this year. And they announced a collector's edition with this, which actually looks kind of crappy for the most part. Probably not worth your money. But Montrell, June 30th, do you think that is a good time period for this game to release its DLC pack?
Yes. Well, for me, yes.
Mm-hmm.
uh, well, I say actually for everyone too. For me, yeah. I mean, I don't have any good work coming in around that time. Like usually, work's gonna be really slow around that time. Besides work, video games. That's usually the slow month for us. Usually,
Mm-hmm.
me and you are like
Mm-hmm.
our trend has been like, we're gonna jump on some multiplayer games to kind of pass the time because we probably finished everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
everything else. So this is actually the perfect multiplayer game for that. Instead of like jumping on another MMO or something like that, we could just jump back on this. On top of that, like kids will be out of school. This is like peak time for them to be out of school. I know Japanese kids would be out of school. Um, European kids would be out of school. Like everybody would be out of school. Um, and we'll have time to play this and dive into it and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. My
Yeah.
my only thing is like the content has to be there. Like
Yes.
it just has to be there, man. It
Bro,
has
if
to.
this comes out and there's no rank 10 equipment, weapons or gear or like armor, I'm going to be so upset. Like if like there's like one rank 10 armor and it's from like the end game Elder Dragon, like the final Elder Dragon you fight, I am going to be fucking raging at this game the way I was like last year with that shit, because that will be unacceptable. Because if they do it here again with this DLC, that is starting to become a trend. And I'm gonna be really afraid for Monster Hunter World 2 or whatever the fuck the sequel to World is gonna be in a year or two. Because yeah, I'm not about that. Monster Hunter's release model for post game content is not fast enough for that to be an acceptable thing for them to be doing. Like we dropped the game by the time all the content came out. Like we stopped playing it and we didn't go back. You know, and that's going to happen here too. It might be different because this is truly the end with G rank this time. The reason we didn't go back is because like we knew G rank was coming and we didn't want to waste our time, with that shit. But even here, knowing us, like once we drop it, we tend to drop games.
Yeah.
We don't really go back. So I'm with you on that. In terms of the release date, yeah, it's the perfect release date. Literally, like it hits everything you said. Like kids being on fucking summer break. Um, it's between all the major releases. Like this year is very front loaded and very back loaded. The middle of the year is kind of barren, and this is going to be a perfect time for us. It's far enough away from right now where I feel like I can get through most of the games I want to get through in that 3 month period. And by the time this game comes, like, dude, I'm going to be fucking ready to jump right in day one. Like, dude, I'm about this. Like, I'm gonna be pushing this with the boys. Like I want everyone getting this day one. Like let's fucking go, dude. Let's
Yes.
let's get on this shit. Like
But before
so.
we push it, so I think what me and you should do is like vet the game
Yeah.
before we push it.
Mm-hmm.
At least play it for a week, and then like, okay, like there's enough content to keep us going or whatever.
I
And then
mean,
we kind of just
okay.
help them catch up. You know.
I feel like we need to do. I don't want to wait a week. I think we need to be. I think we need to read a lot of reviews and watch some videos to really like.
Okay, this is the game we actually have to do research on.
Yes,
We
I think
can't
we
go
need to
we
do.
can't go dark on it.
I think we need to do heavy research into the game prior to release, as much as we can realistically, to learn as much as we can about it. Because I don't want to play it for a week and leave everyone behind. Because that's kind of what happened the first time. Is people got in a little late and it was like kind of hard to play together. We eventually
Yeah,
did, but like you burnt yourself out on the game and didn't really play with us because you got it first and started playing it first. So
yeah,
I kind of want to make this a game where we all get it at the same time and we're all playing together at the same time and we can all kind of progress together. So that's kind of what I want to do, or what I'm hoping we can do. But yeah, we definitely need to vet it though. I don't want to I don't want to hit the end and yeah, it's like tier 10 gear is like not even existent. It's like, God damn it, man. That shit would really suck. So we'll see though. I
Yeah,
mean, a year and 3 months is enough, should be enough time for them to make this, and make it well.
I know, Justin. It's just, man. Usually, I don't even do this with Monster Hunter games, but it's like this game really turned me off. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
yo, this cannot be Monster Hunter at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this needs to be Iceborne level. Like, this has to be Iceborne level
Oof.
content, man. It has to be.
Oh,
Because even me and you went into
I
that
know.
skeptical, and once we were surprised at how many monsters were added, and they were adding monsters while we were playing the game.
Iceborne was so fuck. I don't even want to put those expectations on it. Like, I'm gonna be frank, Iceborne was out of control. Like, I don't understand how they made that within level of, like, they had a separate team working on that DLC before the game came out. Like, they had to have. There's just no conceivable way that they didn't, because the game, dude, it was a full like 70, 80, 90, 100-hour game. Like, it was fucking insane, like how much was in Iceborne. Just Iceborne, there was more in Iceborne than in the base game. It was ridiculous. Like, it was completely insane. So I don't want to put those expectations here, but dude, if that's what we get, I mean, bro, like, we've got a good 2 months of Monster Hunter. We're gonna be fucking gaming Montrell. Like, I hope so. I hope that's what they do.
No, people. Yeah, like if I'm dating somebody, they're gonna be fucking hating me because I'm like, listen.
They're gonna break up with you. Oh my god.
Yeah, like they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
listen, man. I'm telling like, listen, I gotta do this. Me and Justin gotta, do our date. It's date night for
man.
Justin.
Dude, yeah, man.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'll be on.
that shit was funny.
Yeah.
I know that people like listening to this. They're like, yo, what did y'all do during Iceborne? When I tell y'all, we came home, we ate dinner with like with our girlfriends and wives. Probably talked to them for about 20 minutes, and then we were fucking on Monster Hunter like all night until like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we had to go to work the next day. That's how crazy it was.
We were just grinding too, man. We would fight the same monster for half the night. We were like, all right, man, I need some like a Crimson Odogaron fucking tails or some shit. And we'd fight it like 5 times in a row. It's like, oh my god, dude! But it was so good. It was so fun. I don't know. Like, when Monster Hunter is good, it is so good. It's like it. So I don't know. This game
once you get
has
caught
that
up in that
potential,
gameplay, new.
but
Yeah, it has that potential, but it needs the content, man. Like, hopefully they release a little bit more moves and everything like that. Like, I saw the vision when I was playing Rise.
Yeah.
It just wasn't there for me. So even if we get half the stuff of Iceborne, I would probably be happy. Like, they just need a lot more monsters.
Think about it this way: has a G rank release ever, like, literally, has it ever failed us in Monster Hunter? They've always over delivered on the
No,
G-rank
you're
releases.
right. You're right.
So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt until they prove me wrong.
You're right. I have to watch the stream. It's actually like 20 minutes long. So
Okay.
they did announce some monsters and stuff like that, and then they said plenty more monsters to come. So I'm gonna watch it off like once we get done or whatever. But hopefully like that like subdues me, until like the actual game comes out. And apparently it's coming out at the same time on PC, I think.
Ooh. I mean, okay. If there's a way to skip low and high rank the way they did with Iceborne.
Ooh, you're thinking about going PC?
I might go. I might go PC on this one, dude. I actually might. I legitimately might. Because the thing is, I can play with a PS5 controller, instead of the Switch, and
I have to do more research. If we can get Sunbreak on PC at the same time, I'm getting it on PC, bro. Like 100%.
That sucks.
I can just like
all of us bought it on Switch,
I know, but Jet will actually.
I mean,
do it.
Jet will do it. Snakes will definitely buy it on PC. Andy will definitely buy it on PC. It's really me and you. We're really the barriers. So
yeah.
So yeah. Well, exciting. We'll see. I mean, it's a good release date. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it can meet our minimum expectations, which is admittedly pretty high, but at the same time,
I
They've
mean, they kind of
always
set that
delivered.
standard.
They've always
Yeah.
set that standard. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it is what it is. They did it. So all right, Montrell, that's it for news. Let's move into our final segment for the week, which is guess the meta score. So we had 2 games we guessed last week. The first was Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which is coming out tomorrow, day of recording, from the day of recording. You guessed a 9, and I guessed an 8.8, and it is currently sitting at an 8.4. So a little bit
Okay.
lower than we were expecting. Still a very, very solid game, getting very high scores overall.
Yeah, I
But
heard it had a gotcha element to it, which is really interesting. But
not paid though,
I gotta
right?
not paid, but like
Okay. Like
some kind of
Xenoblade
gotcha
Chronicles
element.
2.
Yeah,
That's weird, dude. That is weird.
yeah.
I that kind of it's like weirding me out. I feel like there have been some games trying to do that shit where they're putting like gotcha systems into like single player games and there's no monetization tied to it at all, you know? It's like okay, all right, I don't know. I
I
don't know
gotta
if I
say,
like this. Like
I saw one tweet about it.
yeah.
I gotta research more into it, but I I thought that was pretty interesting. Like Kirby has a gotcha game, but I guess it makes sense as all the powers you'll get. But I wonder what the gotcha element is
I mean, it
attached
might
to them.
literally be a capsule machine, you know, like where
Yeah,
you like get like random powers or some shit from it. So I can see
yeah,
that. That
yeah.
could be fun in Kirby. Um, the second game we guessed was Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And you guessed a 7, and I guessed a 7.7. And the actual score right now, sitting at 80 on PC on Metacritic,
Nice, nice.
65 reviews or so. So solid. This game's actually reviewing pretty well. I did watch Skill Up's review, and he said that it is not an amazing game, but it honestly fits Borderlands better than whatever Borderlands 3 was trying to do, which is exactly the kind of impression I was starting to get from this game. Is that like this is the game that Borderlands 3 probably should have been from like a gameplay standpoint and a story standpoint, even though it's like not really canon. It's just this like silly
Hmm.
thing. But the thing is, the way Borderlands is, the humor it has, I think this kind of setup works better for its story. So yeah, game seems pretty good. I think I'm definitely going to pick it up. I just don't know when. I'm mired in, giant games right now, so
Yep, same.
I'll find time for it at some point. Again, this is another one. If we all decide to co-op this shit, then I will definitely pick it up and play it co-op. But for until then, I'm just gonna hold off for now. So, okay. So we don't have a big release next week. However, on the 4th of April, Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga is coming out, and the 4th of April is actually a Monday. It is a Monday. So, actually, sorry, April 5th. It's Tuesday, but that is close enough to our recording date that I think the embargo will be up by then. So by the time we record this time next week. So this is the game we're gonna guess this week. What do you think this game is gonna score, Montreal?
I'm gonna say 7.5.
Okay, interesting. You're going kind of low. I mean, what's your thought process there?
Uh, I think it's as much as a really good game it is. I think there's still going to be some drawbacks to it. I don't know what those drawbacks are going to be, but
Yeah,
I don't know. It's probably going to have like some kind of people are going to get upset about the collecting mechanics, or maybe they don't like the combat in the game or something like that. Maybe it's too hard or whatever. I don't
yeah.
know. I'm just really interested in seeing what's going to happen. So I'm going safe right now and saying
Okay,
7.5.
okay. So I'm torn on this one because the game that I saw looks good. However, this game from TT Games has had a very, very tortured development, to the point that Lego is now starting to work with other developers outside of TT Games. So I'm like, oof, man, is it going to be bad? Is it going to be good? Like, where's it going to hit based off that information? I don't know. I'm leaning towards good. But I don't want to guess too close to what you guess. This is the shitty part about guessing second is like I don't want to guess 7.5 because you already guessed 7.5. So I got to keep it interesting. I don't want to say like 7.6 though. That's just like that's too close, you know? It's like kind of shitty.
Just pick, Justin.
That's
Just
like the
pick.
Price is Right bullshit, you know? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to go 7.8. That's my guess.
All right.
We will
Yeah,
see.
I didn't know about the torture development of the game.
Yeah,
I
this
didn't know
game's been in
that
dev for a
Legos.
while.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Like, dude, go look at their last game TT Games released. I don't even know what the last game TT Games released was. Let me go see if I can find a list real quick. TT Games. Here we go. Traveler's Tales. Yeah, the last game they came out with was Lego Movie 2, the video game. And that was in 2019. That was 3 years ago. Whereas this is a developer traditionally that has released a lot of games in quick succession. Like 2018, they had Lego DC Super Villains. 2017, they had 2 games, Lego Worlds, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. 2016, they had Lego Marvel's Avengers. 2015, they had Lego Dimensions. 2014, they had Lego The Hobbit, and then Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham. So there's a lot of years in here they had multiple games coming out, going back as far back as like 2005, like, you know, so so yeah, 3 years between a game for them is a fucking lot, honestly. So they've had some issues clearly, but we will see what comes of it.
Looks like they did a lot of fucking movie title games. Like if you just look at their
Yep, Chronicles of Narnia in here.
Yeah.
Transformers the game, which that's like the first Transformers movie in 2007. I mean, honestly though, since 2008, they've literally made nothing but Lego games. So 13 years straight, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we will see how it is when it comes out. All right, man. Well, that is all we got this week. Are there any other things you'd like to discuss before we go for the day?
No, not today. I am very, very tired, unfortunately. So
yeah, let's get you to bed. Me too, honestly. All right. Well, thanks everybody. If you like this episode, please like the show, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you are listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I am at ThunderNut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. All right, guys, that is it for us this week. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week. Bye.